Hi, I'm Sharee Harris with Fathom Realty in St. George, Utah. Today we're going to talk about 4 reasons you may not want to wait to buy a home. We're going to talk about forbearance, home values, interest rates, and inflation. First, let's talk about inflation. We're hearing a lot about it on the news, but more than that, I'm sure you're feeling it. I know when I go to the grocery store, I am kind of shocked by how much more things are costing, or just the lack of items on the shelf. So I'm buying brands I wouldn't normally buy, in Christmas shopping. I felt it a bit, and even buying a car, just feeling that increase of expenses. And part of this inflation is that the rent is going up. And I hear this from people all the time who are saying, my landlord has contacted me, I have to move out or I have to pay more money. And I don't know what I'm going to do. My income is not increasing as fast as all these expenses. And so one thing that can really help is real estate is a hedge to inflation. Mark P. Cousins says, real estate is one of the time-honored inflation hedges. It is a tangible asset, and those tend to hold their value when inflation reigns. Unlike paper assets, more specifically, as prices rise, so do property values. So by owning a home, one of your monthly expenses, probably your biggest, is going to stay fixed. Your house payment doesn't fluctuate during those 15, 30 years of your fixed loan amount. Your property taxes may increase a bit, or your insurance, but that principal payment is not going to change. It's going to stay the same to help you as everything else is rising in cost around you. This is not the case if you're renting. That's going to keep going up. And as we can see with inflation, if we look back on history, that most of the time the cost of rent has increased even more than inflation. Natalie Campisi says, homeowners are shielded from mounting rental prices because their cost is fixed regardless of what's happening in the market. Tangible assets like real estate get more valuable over time, which makes buying a home a good way to spend your money during inflationary times. Now let's talk about interest rates. Most predictions are predicting that they are going to go up over the next year. By the end of the year, probably looking at mid to high 3s, which historically that's still low, but that's really going to impact your purchasing power. So let's say you started looking for a home in 2021 when interest rates were 2.75%, and you could afford $2,000 a month, so you could get a loan for up to $490,000. But now rates have been going up, so now we're at around 3.25%. Now you're looking at only being able to get a loan for $470,000. And if interest rates go up as predicted, by the end of the year, you may only be able to get a loan for $430,000. You've lost $60,000 in buying power. And if we look at history, house prices and existing home sales have historically been resilient to rising mortgage rates. In fact, let's look at what they're predicting is going to happen with the home values over this next year. They're expected to keep rising due to low housing supply and high buyer demand. As you can see, if we take the average, we are looking at a 5.1% increase over the next year. And I know many think that because we have all these homes in forbearance that we're going to have all of these foreclosures coming onto the market, but let's talk about why that's probably not going to be the case. Upon exiting the forbearance program, 38.6% paid in full, 44% worked out a repayment plan, so only 17.4% were still in trouble. And most of them should have plenty of equity to sell their home because of all the raising costs. In fact, they'll probably sell their homes and walk away with extra cash. So we're not expecting to see a lot of foreclosures come about because of the forbearance. I know everyone's situation is different, but I also know that knowledge is power. So I hope that you can use this information to make the best decision for you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll talk to you soon.